Welcome to my latest experiment. This is a big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy Harley Podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet.
And her pussy tastes like Skittles. What? Yeah, and you can really taste the rainbow. What? I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley Podcast.
And I'm Guy Pigden.
That was Little Xan, my main man, Little Xan.
One of your favourite new rappers with some eloquent, profound, well thought out lyrics.
Mumble rap, guys. Mumble rap is where it's at. And I know it is because I was actually talking to some teenagers this week, and you know who they're listening to? My main man, Little Peep. And that tells me that I am currently, I'm on fleek. I'm on fleek with what's cool.
Although we did see we had a conversation about one of our friends who took a photo of themselves on Facebook with their much younger wife.
Beautiful younger
wife.
Yeah.
And how he always looks so fucking horrible by comparison to her.
Yeah.
Because, she looks young and he doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's really, but this particular one was very alarming because he really looked like his dad.
Yeah.
In it. And you were like, oh, is that us? Do we look like that? Do we really look that fucking horrible?
We don't look that old, do we?
And I was reminded of the Simpsons quote from Principal Skinner, where he questions, I can't remember what it is, but he's like, am I out of touch? Am I out of touch? No, it's the kids who are wrong.
Yeah.
That's what my reply to you.
That's us. Well,
it's the kids who are wrong. No.
Well, the kids aren't wrong about Lil Peep, which means I'm not wrong about Lil Peep. So, mumble rap, guys. Now, you might be wondering why the podcast sounds a little different this week.
You might be wondering why the podcast sounds like shit. That might have been one of the first things you'd wondered.
Well, it's because we are on the road, literally on the road, recording this right now as we speak. Pigville Productions is on tour. We're actually coming back from tour, but we just did a 2-day filmmaking workshop in Whitianga where we inspired the minds of tomorrow. We created the next generation of filmmakers in New Zealand. Molded them. And it went really well. It was a great opportunity for us. It was a paid gig to talk about what we like talking about anyway, and sort of pass on our knowledge, which we we got to basically get paid to be ourselves and talk to people about stuff that we care about, and then show them how to make movies. And it was great fun.
We lit the spark that becomes the flame that starts a revolution.
That's right.
To quote that shitty Star Wars movie.
Oh, yeah.
The Last Jedi.
Yeah, the last time I'll pay.
Or that's a misquote, but yeah, it's basically it.
That's the gist of it.
So we were teaching kids, and
now, these guys were between sort of 15 and 17-ish, these teens.
And we actually, because I guess it's not true just to say that, we came and, because we didn't just come and speak, we come and made them make a movie.
Yeah, we made 2 films. We had a team each and we made a movie each. And over the course of 2 days, and of course the first day you're meeting them, you're having a chat, you're doing all the bloody blah, then you've got to write it, then you've got to plan it, and then you've got to shoot it, and then basically all day on the second day you've got to do it, you're in post-production.
Yeah. And so it was pretty hectic.
There was no lunch breaks.
There was actually no lunch breaks. These kids had no breaks. Yeah. Now I remember
fuck the kids. We didn't have any fucking breaks.
Well, I just remember when I was a kid, if I didn't get my breaks at the quarter breaks plus the lunch break.
Yeah.
I was fucking shirty, man.
Yeah.
I was a shirty little petulant
little shit.
I was fucking fuming.
Well, that might be the name of the episode, a shirty little shit.
Shirty little shit.
Yeah.
and that was me. So I couldn't really fathom the good attitude that these kids had about what was happening. I was just like, are you serious? Like, you guys are okay with not taking lunch? You guys are okay with just taking 0 breaks and just doing this the whole way? And not only that, my team had to fucking stay late.
An hour after school.
Which they suggested.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't quite finished the film, and I was like, well, we could try and pick it up tomorrow morning, or... and, you know, some of these kids were meant to be getting buses out of the town. And they're like, no, we want to stay and finish it. Bloody good on them. I overheard them today before the film screened. We were looking through some photos on the big screen, and some pictures of you came up with your mullet, and your beard and so on. And I overheard some kids say, God, look at him. He looks like such a director. And the other one goes, who, him? And he goes, yeah, Guy. So... I'm living the dream. I do, like, because I've got my Spielberg cap on. I've got my mullet out. I am like a director from the 80s,
fucking
really.
Mullet's out for the girls.
Yeah. And, yeah, it was a pretty interesting time. We should probably talk about... Also, this is very dangerous what we're doing. Well, I'm driving one-handed.
I wasn't going to. No. You can't. This is idiotic to tell them that.
Well, I'm just saying
about how you're breaking the law right now.
I'm not breaking the law. There is no rules against podcasting
in driving.
Yeah, there's no rules about it. Look out the law books. There's no rules about podcasting when driving.
Yeah.
So that's not an issue. But I'm just saying that we're risking life and limb to bring you this podcast.
But you really should tell them that, because we're risking other people's lives and limbs, you know? So really, we just needed to not mention the fact that you're driving one-handed. I think that's a foolish thing to do.
That's our commitment to you.
Yeah. I would have started that again and said, we are doing it on the road. And, we've set up the mic somehow.
Well, it's done now. But we should also talk about how we sort of started this trip off, because in classic Pigville fashion, really, we were planning to drive out at sort of 10 o'clock in the evening. It's a 2.5 hour drive, and sort of drive out at 10 o'clock and, sort of get there around just 12:30 or something like that.
At night. Yeah.
But unfortunately, I had a film shoot. I was shooting the Doc Edge, what are they called? Doc Edge Awards or something like that. And I actually saw Sam Jukes there. Shout out to Sam Jukes.
So 5150 listener, Sam Jukes.
Avid, dedicated listener of the podcast. Thank you very much. It was very lovely to see you there. And, she was at another premiere. That's the second premiere I've seen her at. Friends in High Places.
Yeah.
That's the second premiere I've seen her at when I was not at the premiere. And she also did mention, she goes, I know how you feel about these premieres. I listened to the podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, I did say that. But to be fair, I actually really enjoy filming them. I just feel like a total failure simultaneously. It's not that I don't actually enjoy the work or I'm resentful. It's like, I'm getting paid pretty well. I'm doing something like fun that I enjoy, plus I get to be at this cool thing. It's just that I'm on the wrong side of the curtain.
Yeah.
That's really the issue there. And it's just a constant reminder of that.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so that premiere finished. It ended up finishing at like 12:30. So by the time we sort of got, or 12, and by the time we sort of got going and hit the road, it was 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So then we got in at...
It's a more than a 2.5 hour drive to get there. It's 191 Ks.
And so we got in about 3?
Yeah.
And then obviously we got to sleep on some couches that...
My couch was comically small.
Yeah. Well, look, my couch wasn't that much better in relation to my height.
Well, that's the thing, Guy. Being 5 inches taller than me doesn't mean you get a couch a foot longer. You know, like I wasn't 5 inches more comfortable. You were or more uncomfortable. You know, or you know, like yeah. So Guy has been blessed by being a tall, handsome, dark man, and now you know, he thinks that that's justification for getting to sleep on a more comfortable couch as well. It's like how the poor get poorer. You know, at my work, right? The rich guys, they all get car parks, and the poor guys, the poor people,
have to pay.
They have to pay. It makes no fucking sense.
No.
Well, this is the same thing. Guy walks through life with his big long legs. You know, he's a tall guy.
Sorry, mate, I need the long couch.
Yeah, I need the long couch. I need the comfortable couch.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I'm tall.
It's like,
taller than you.
okay, well, you're taller than me, but that doesn't mean I fit on this 2 foot long couch any better than you, really.
So yeah, it wasn't super glamorous. The couches, sleeping on the couches for 3 hours weren't super glamorous.
Yeah, well, actually, when we got in there as well, like, you know, it was 3:30 in the morning. We sort of quickly said hello to our host, and you know, and then we turned off all the lights and had to go to sleep. And I've actually got some audio from that.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Are you wanking? Are you wanking right next to me? What the fuck is wrong with you?
No, I'm not wanking. I'm just trying to get comfy, that's all.
If I hear that sleeping bag rustle again, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Well, hang on. Just let me get comfy first. I've just got to get comfy.
Did you just...
It's okay, I'm comfy now. I'm comfy. You just had to get comfy.
Yeah, I didn't realise you turned on the old podcast recorder for that one.
Yeah, I just switched it on because switched on the recorder because you know I just I was a bit upset. I was a bit upset about that.
Well,
situation.
I just had to get comfortable. That's all.
Oh right. Well, speaking of which, we have actually set up Guy's microphone now. He's no longer driving one-handed because of the microphone. He's driving one-handed because he's wanking.
So it's set up for my convenience on the road.
Still dangerous. Still risking life and limb.
Still actually more dangerous, probably. More distracted now, but feel good. Feel good.
So yeah, you were saying we get like 3 hours sleep.
So we got 3 hours sleep, and then we're kind of thrust into this thing where we've essentially got to film a short film, or not even just film. We've got to write, plan, and shoot a short film in a 9 till 3.
Yeah, 9 till 3 minus an hour of talking at the top,
and 0 breaks.
Yeah,
it was pretty intense. It was pretty hectic.
It was. For me, it was pretty enjoyable, and I think one of the things I liked doing was I was like, well, look, we're doing this thing, but I was like, if this thing sucks, that's okay, because the kids are in charge of it, you know, they're directing, they're shooting it, and so on, and I'm just here to guide, and, you know, the point is for them to have fun and to learn stuff, and so the point is not to make the best, most amazing film in the world, it's to have fun and inspire them, and I was like, well, we're doing that, you know?
Yeah.
We're definitely doing that.
Also, it's very rare to be able to talk about something and sound highly intelligent and knowledgeable. That's a real
treat for us.
Yeah, that's a real sort of rarity in our lives. And so here we are, basically dispensing all the knowledge we have. Like, these kids don't know that we're fucking dumbasses in every other avenue of life.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know that we're fucking stupid at everything. All they hear is how much we know about filmmaking, which is a fucking lot.
Yeah.
Which we actually do know what we're talking about. So again, they probably, you know, come away going, yeah, those guys are so wise.
Yeah.
So wise and thoughtful.
Man.
True intellectuals.
Man, I hope I'm as cool as they are when I'm 50.
I'm as cool and smart as Guy is at 50. But the reality is, that if they saw a true window into our lives, they would realise that this is the only thing that we know.
Yeah, if they heard the number of wank jokes, they'd go, "These guys are actually about as mature as we are."
Yeah.
And as yeah.
Like this one earlier on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I thought, I thought it was pretty cool. Now, we did look at the films at the end. What was your takeaway? We were in direct competition, really?
Yeah, well, it wasn't really meant to be competition. I kind of assumed we'd kind of flit between the two teams and sort of end up kind of helping each other out.
And in fact, a couple of times I was like, fuck, I wish Harley was here. Might be able to solve some of these issues, because I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I have no idea what it would have been that you would have needed me for.
I can't remember what the question was. I was just like, yeah.
You go, "Hey Harley, we need somebody to eat lollies and flirt with the extras. Get in here." No, so I thought they were. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, they both got completed. They were both completed on time, more or less.
Yep.
And they were released, and we more or less stuck to the original vision, so that was great. And so all in all, I think they were a big achievement. Of course, when I look at my one, I do see all the flaws, and I'm like, man, we really rushed that. We really smashed our way through that. We didn't, that audio is really bad, and we reused that sound effect like 5 times, and all of that stuff. But all in all, I think it was pretty good, and it got a few laughs, and it was kind of true to the original script. And then I think that your one was a much better example of cinema. It was shot nicer, and it was finished to a higher standard and that type of thing. And it was kind of it was more ambitious in the sense that it had more coverage and it was shot more like a real film and that type of thing, whereas mine was more like mine was really sort of run and gun and get it done, because I knew we had these deadlines, so I was like, run and gun and get it done and we'll fix it, whereas Guy's was like nice and tight but get it right, schedule wise nice and tight, the schedule's nice and tight but we'll get it right, whereas mine was run and gun and get it done. So two different philosophies, and we both ended up with finished films.
Yeah, well, I will say I enjoyed your one for the humour of it more, the spirit of it.
It was about a killer bucket.
It was about a killer bucket,
a vengeful bucket,
whose bucket lover,
bucket girlfriend,
was smashed by some
obnoxious teens,
some shirty little kids.
Yeah.
And so it went on a rampage of revenge.
Yeah.
A roaring rampage of revenge.
Yeah. Bucket Man. Don't get on his list. That's not the name we went for in the end. In the end, we went with Bucket Love.
Yeah.
They kicked the bucket.
Yeah.
Because they kicked the bucket and they were killed, if you see what I'm saying. They kicked the bucket.
So, and we shot it as a 48-hour film festival, in the sense that it had to be a genre. We picked the genre was horror, of course. We're the horror guys. Forever be known as the horror guys. Never lose that reputation or get out of it. We're just the horror guys for the rest of our lives.
Never be known as the quality cinema guys.
No, just the horror guys. All right. Why don't we check with ask the horror guys? Horror. Well, maybe we'll talk to the horror guys. Filmmaking, no, but the horror guys, no horror. So horror guys told them to make a horror movie, and then we also said they had to have a bucket in it, hence your Bucket Man.
Yep.
And my kids picked a freaking high school shooting.
Yeah.
Different strokes.
So mine was a revenge story, but comedy horror.
Yep.
About a bucket man that kills people.
Yep.
Yours was a very timely political reflection of the times.
Yeah. Of the high school shootings.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so it was pretty interesting. It was a lot of fun, and we came away. Should we say how much we came away the richer? Or we'll just leave it.
We'll leave that to people's imaginations.
Well, we came away richer.
Suffice to say, we'll be retiring. I've quit my job, and I'm just going to do this forever now.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun, and pretty cool experience, really. I had my reservations, my trepidations, my reluctances to begin with, because I was just like, God, I'm just so busy. I can't be fucked.
Yeah.
Which is really sometimes how I feel when I feel like not doing something. It's normally, I'm just so busy, I can't be fucked. It's not necessarily a like, it's like I wouldn't enjoy doing this. It's more just the weight of the rest of my life that's preventing me from doing it.
Well, this was a whole thing as well, because we had to have a big old road trip each way, and really ideally we would have done probably a bit more prep beforehand. Like if we didn't have all these other projects and other things going on, you could spend a week prepping a 2-day course.
Yes, and that's the thing too. We really just came up with it in the car
on the way down
at 1 a.m.
2 a.m.
or at 2 a.m. and we were like, what the fuck are we gonna do here?
Yeah.
And also Harley had prepared a speech like at the beginning, and I was like, and you were like, oh, do we need anything else? I was like, nah, we'll be sweet, man, we'll be sweet. That's way over an hour. And he'd basically got through his speech within like just over 30 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, shit. Yeah. We got to talk some shit now. Yeah. We really got to stool. Yeah. We really got to stool for a long time and just talk nonsense here, because we've got 20 minutes to fill, and if we can't even fill an hour of talking about films from two filmmakers that have made films for the last 15 years, we're not going to look too flashy.
Yeah, no,
and we're going to
start.
And we're going to seem really unprepared, like we came up with this at 2 a.m. the night before.
Yeah.
So we had to pump the old brakes, but I think it came off all right.
No, we pulled it off, because the thing is, what we did in the end was I just put down my iPad, which had the sort of the remnants of my notes on it, and we just went off the cuff for a bit. And I mean, if anybody can talk shit,
it's us.
It's us, and so that's what we did. We just kind of talked shit for the last half an hour, and we also, invited them to participate, so it was great. They had a few questions for us, and of course, one question you can turn into a 5-minute spiel. So you're okay, and we were okay.
So what else is going on?
Oh, well, let's see. We better open up the Bumble files, the Tinder files.
Yep.
I did go on a date, which went really well. She was very nice. We got along very well, and I hope to see her again. So that was good. I did have one concern, which was that when we became WhatsApp buddies, I noticed that she had a biblical quote there with the Bible number and everything. It was Philippians, 13-4.
Philippines.
So that's a bit of a concern, because we don't really know each other very well or anything like that. But
Harley hasn't introduced.
No, I haven't. I haven't really. She doesn't know about Gravity, my poem Gravity. She doesn't.
Harley hasn't introduced her to his poetry vids.
Yeah, we haven't spoken about the meaning of life yet. I haven't been able to enlighten her about the lack of meaning in life yet. And
you haven't been able to
crush
enlighten
her
her
soul
about the that nothing means anything, and we're all insignificant specks in the universe, and nothing you do matters, and your whole life leads to nothing, and then you're completely forgotten, and you haven't been able to break that one to it yet.
No, I haven't got to it yet.
You haven't really been able to, and then you just don't exist anymore, and that's just gone, and you can no longer enjoy the world. You haven't really been able to drop that one on her, unfortunately.
No, not yet. And
and I know you're really looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a boner killer, really, when you see quotes like that.
The irony. That guy
so we pulled over to let somebody go past. We turned down a street to let him go past, and he went
was
down
turning down the street.
So we just held him up the entire time,
and then
while he was riding up our asses.
Yeah.
And then we pulled over to let him go down the street that he was going down.
To be fair, he was at a respectful distance.
Right. Good for him. So anyway, it was a very nice date. So we'll see what happens there. But I just have a feeling that, I mean, it's not a problem for me. Like, I don't mind if a partner of mine is religious. Like, for example, my previous 2 girlfriends were both Catholic, and so it's not really a problem for me. But I've also never been with like an evangelical type that quotes the Bible, you know. So I don't know how that would go down. But it's really more of a problem for them because of your
poetry video.
Well, yeah, well, like, as in, like, I wouldn't even care if she was religious and did a really religious poetry video, you know, that was how she decided to express it. Like, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be loving it, but you know, but you know, I could get through that. I guess the real problem, I feel like for them, for the religious person, they're going to be a lot more upset about my lack of religion and complete scathing disregard for it.
Absolute disrespect.
Yeah, absolute disrespect for it. Than they are, and the reason why is because if I'm right, then there's no heaven. They're not seeing the dead dog when they die. You know, all of that stuff. You know,
oh yeah, throw that in.
Life is
Guess
meaningless.
What? You're not seeing your dead dog when you die. You know how you're really looking forward to being reconciled with your loved ones.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. It's not fucking happening.
Forget about it, mate.
It's not fucking happening.
Fucking get on your bike, son.
Yeah, just live in the real world for a while.
Just stop having hopes.
So you know, I mean, I really kind of feel like it's more going to be a problem for her, because if she goes God's real, and I'm going to go, well, no, he's not, but whatever. Whereas if I go God's not real, and then it's more of a defense. You know, you've got to have this defense of like, well, of course he is. You know, you don't want to be reminded every day by the person that you wake up next to. Not that I would actually literally remind them, but just my face would remind them that God is not real, because they would be reminded that I don't believe in God, and that would make them think about the lack of existence of God, and they would get defensive about it, because there's a whole lot to protect there, you know, in terms of protecting your beliefs.
There's a delicate eco structure.
Exactly, it's a delicate ego structure. And so yeah, I really feel like it's probably more of a problem for them than for me. But yeah, so we'll see how that one goes.
Can we talk about the age difference, or?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she is approximately 10 years younger than you.
Yeah. I mean, I have reached middle age, I guess now, and it's time for me to start sort of, shopping around for a newer model.
Yeah.
And hitting my midlife crises.
Well, James Cameron. That's what James Cameron said. They're like, why did you, why do you keep dating new people who are, that you're with? And he's like, I can never resist a newer model.
Yeah. that old Jim. Well, yeah, so she's 26.
Yep.
And I'm 35.
Yeah, I did joke. I'd like to introduce you to my girlfriend. This is Midlife Crisis. This is my new girlfriend, Midlife Crisis.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, she seems very mature. We had mature and interesting conversations.
Ain't nothing mature about that ass.
This is highly inappropriate, and I would never say anything
untoward about that ass.
About any lady, I would never say anything untoward, because I am a gentleman.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she's 26. We went on a Bumble date. She's very nice. We got along very well. I do hope maybe we'll go on another Bumble date sometime. But yeah, that's quite a difference in age there. 9 years. I've never really gone. I don't know if I've ever really done that.
I know.
Well, it's because I've always been old enough that for me to go 10 years younger is literally illegal.
Yes, it is interesting, because you're like, I've never really done that because I've never really been this fucking old.
Exactly. So, yeah. So that's the update on that one. And speaking of dating, we better talk about the fact that I finally went on first dates. As in the First Dates episode, First Dates NZ finally aired.
Yep.
Went on TV, and I was quite trepidatious
before
it came out, because I was like, well, shit, how are they going to cut me? You know, what's going to happen here? Like, am I going to be cut to be this bad guy? What kind of shit did I say? It was fucking months ago. And the way it works is you do your audition, and then they film the audition, and they make you sign a thing saying that they can use the footage from the audition. And then they film your date like 2 months later if you make it onto the show. And then, so even the show itself, you know, the footage you're watching is not all from the same night. It's all cut from, you know, months apart. And then the show itself comes out, you know, 6 or 8 months after that, you know, so you can barely remember what you said on the night of the date. You can barely remember what you said at the audition, and the night that by the time it airs, you can't remember any of it. You know, you're like, fuck, what the hell did I even talk about? So, you know, I was a bit concerned. I was thinking, fuck, but, you know, they could probably cut all sorts of things in there.
Was my conversation in there?
Well, Guy hasn't watched it yet, but no, you got cut. The guy. So the plan.
Nice.
The plan was to call up Guy during the date, because you're allowed to call somebody up, and, you know,
like
sort of
a
just
lifeline in that game show.
And Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Call a friend.
Yeah, call a friend. It's Who Wants to Be Laid Tonight, and you can call a friend for advice.
Call a friend for advice.
So I called Guy, and
I just asked if she was hot or not.
Yeah, basically.
Superficial.
Yeah, superficial, and a problem for me because I didn't want to go on television and say anything mean about anybody. So, I called him up though, and the plan was basically to get a little snippet of the Guy and Harley podcast.
Hilarious.
Snippet.
Rapport.
Exactly.
That we have right here.
On the Guy and Harley podcast, we want to get that on primetime TV. That was the goal. A little 5 minutes of the podcast on primetime TV. You know, it was all marketing. It was all hustling. And then, of course, that got cut. And a lot of my date got cut, to be honest. It basically got cut down to a very pleasant enough evening between two people. And basically, I got cut as sort of a nice gentleman, really. And my date got cut more like she was a bit of a crazy, zany type. And you know, I feel like they were actually kind of mean to her in the cut. They were a little bit mean. The way the humour they decided to take. Don't get me wrong, it was quite funny, but
don't get me wrong, I laughed.
But it was mean humour.
I laughed at the mean humour.
It was mean humour. So, for example, there's a bit where they're like, "What do you want? What are you looking for in a woman?" You know, intellectually sort of thing. And I'm like, well, I'm really just looking for somebody who's chasing their dreams, somebody who's hustling and grinding to do whatever they want, you know, to chase their creative goals and stuff. So I'm sort of like, yeah, I'm just looking for somebody who's passionate, you know, passionate about whatever they're doing. And then they cut to her eating a rib, a big sticky rib, and she's picked it up in her hands and she's like ripping at it with her teeth and like getting it all over her face, you know, in a fancy restaurant. And it's like, and then it cuts back to me and I'm like, yeah, somebody who just loves what they're doing, you know. And then cut back to her and she's like licking the bone, you know, and then kind of like, obviously they're very much saying that she's passionate about eating that rib. Which was kind of, you know, funny but mean. She, honestly, on the night, though, my date seemed like, you know, a good laugh and a nice person. And so I do think that she probably did have a laugh at that, you know, hopefully.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's hard to say. It depends on what she was expecting from a reality show. You know, like, if she went into it, like if I went into it and that happened to me, I would kind of laugh it off because it's like, well, that's pretty funny and that's not that bad and that's a reality show. But if you went into it expecting not to have your footage fucked around with and not to be cut as a certain particular type of character, and then you get cut as a particular type of character when you're just a pleb who doesn't work in TV and doesn't expect that type of thing to happen, it might be a bit of a shock. It might be embarrassing or whatever, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's been a resounding sort of success for me, really.
You did mention that you noticed a
spike,
a spike in the numbers,
an influx of activity, and a increase in quality of the respondents.
Tinder to Bumble
ratio. Yeah, Tinder and Bumble have both been kind of blowing up a bit since then. Because I made my profile picture a screenshot of the show. And yeah, I gotta say, I've been getting some good reactions on there.
I gotta say, people are fucking superficial, pathetic assholes.
Well, none of that makes sense, because if they were superficial, then they would be going for a tall, dark, and handsome type.
No, because
not
a
a
tall,
short,
dark,
bald, and hairy type.
Because a tall, dark, and handsome type ain't on TV, mate.
Okay, but it's not that I'm on TV, because I don't think those other buffoons are getting their bloody bumbles blown up, like bloody Romeo, who was on one of the other episodes.
I don't know.
Nah, these people that got cut like idiots. I really don't think people are like, hey, I want to be with that idiot. I think that I got lucky because I came across as charming and all that. I got cut as a charming, sweet gentleman.
I think that helps for sure.
So like I got away with it, whereas everyone else on the episode got cut to look like an idiot in some way. And in fact, there was one lady on my episode who gave her number. She thought they play with alcohol, I'd like to add. They do give you shots and all that and allow you to order as many drinks as you want. And this one girl decided to go. She decided she preferred the look of the barman than her date, and so she wrote down her number. And when her date went to the toilet, she went and gave the barman her number. And then, of course, the show cut that in such a way that it was a big kind of scandal and like made her look like quite bad, really. But you go, okay, whatever, that's sweet, it's kind of funny or whatever. But then it turns out that she works for a major New Zealand airline, and there's
only one of those.
Word on the street has it that she's been stood down.
Anset's not around anymore.
She's been stood down from her job at this airline as a result of the reality show, and I know this not through the show. I know this through someone that knows her. And yeah, she's been stood down apparently.
That's not really fair because it has never been a crime to be a slapper.
No, giving your number out ain't illegal, is it? And two-timing, going on dates, disrespecting your date on national television, it might be a little bit bad taste, but it's not that bad.
I mean, yeah, I am saying that tongue in cheek. Because at the end of the day, like, this poor woman has done nothing wrong. Like,
no,
she is completely within her rights to give her number to anyone she wants,
yeah.
whether or not she's going on a date or not.
Yeah.
And her airline can't be like, oh, sorry, that kind of looks a bit bad. Like, it's a very grey area because they like, there's a clause in those contracts or in any contract, like improper conduct, I guess. And, we've all heard stories from sort of, Harley's losing the plot here. He's losing his mic, losing the plot.
My mic's safe.
Where, people have done some weird Facebook photos, but those are kind of like, they put on a thing and it's like they're Nazis. They put up a Nazi post.
Yeah, and you're like, well,
and you go, sorry, I can't condone your Nazism on at our work in the workplace.
You're right.
And that seems fair enough, but this is such a ridiculous thing. It's like, look, if you want to give her a number out, you can. I just feel like that's real shaky grounds and something that some lawyer somewhere could extract a lot of money from that company for doing. Yeah,
I reckon it's not actually true though, because she's the face of the company, right? She's a hostess, and that means that all the people she deals with, now might know her as the slapper from First Dates that gave out her number when she was on a date with somebody else, and the company is a company that
sleep with the guy. She gave her number out.
Yeah, it is only a number, but I guess the scandal associated with it as well. It's like from the company's perspective, they're like, why on earth do we want this person who is the face of like this bad behavior to also be in our show?
I guess that's the thing. Is it really bad?
Sorry, not in our show. Representing our company. Sorry.
I guess that's the question. Is it really bad behaviour? It's certainly.
It depends on the company, though. It depends on the company's marketing. If the company's marketing is aimed at being wholesome and all that, then it can't have somebody doing that type of thing on reality TV at the same time. I don't really.
Giving out a number.
I see what they're saying.
It's unwholesome.
Well, it's unwholesome when you're on a date with somebody else. Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good. So shout out to her.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll see her on Bumble and cheer her up.
Yeah, right.
So, what else has been happening? We don't have any notes, so this could be the end of the podcast.
well, to be honest, I'm feeling pretty sick. I get car sick. Harley gets car sick. And all of this, we're on a really shitty piece of road that's like curving and bloody turning.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not good for the nerves. Guy hates travelling with me.
He is the worst. Like, he is the absolute worst person to drive with.
Tummy.
I got a seat in the front. Otherwise I get a sore tummy. If you take the corners too quickly, I get a sore tummy. If it gets too hot in the car, we gotta have the window down full fucking blast and cold air full blast because I get a tummy ache.
Get a tummy. Yeah, well, look, this is not my fault. Last time we went on a big old road trip, I did end up throwing up out the window. Throwing up all down the footpath. Now, this won't happen this time because last time I was severely hungover.
Yes.
As well.
I think that's worth mentioning.
It was after a big wedding and we'd had a big night and drunk far too much. So that was definitely a contributing factor. But let me tell you, I'm fucking hoping that we get onto some open road soon. And when we do, if I do throw up, I'm going to keep this recording and the listeners can listen.
Well, to be fair, we have now just passed
the shitty bit. Good.
From what I can see here, I believe it's pretty straight-ish from now on.
Because I actually do have edit notes on my... but
you can't read them.
Podcast.
It's me.
Yeah, well, if I start reading notes from a cell phone instead of looking directly out the front of this car, I am definitely just going to throw up everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
But we did have some great listener feedback, which we'll get to next week. We have feedback from Bevan and also Mark Cookson, who is a wrestling fan.
Right.
Mark Cookson said that he likes the podcast because he likes keeping up with the adventures of Alex Savage.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Alex, I should mention about the adventures of Alex Savage is that I am going to be, or my close personal friend is going to be wrestling. He's doing a bit of a crazy thing, actually. He's driving to Tauranga Armageddon, where he's going to be wrestling. And then later that evening, he's going to be wrestling in Hamilton. So from Tauranga, he's got to drive all the way to Hamilton, wrestle, and then drive all the way home, all in the space of a day.
And this is all tomorrow after doing this big road trip today. Alex Savage is in the boot right now. Yeah. And he's now currently driving from Whitianga to Auckland after having driven here just the other day. So
I also should probably mention that Alex Savage probably had his worst match of his career at the IPW 15th anniversary show.
Oh, that's what you want at a big night like that?
Not really, but it also wasn't his fault because, he was wrestling two very experienced wrestlers. One of them...
So it was his fault for not being experienced enough. It was his fault for starting his wrestling career in his 30s.
No, in the sense that they decided on a match structure which was not very befitting of
a rookie.
Well, no, I guess it was befitting of a rookie in the sense that essentially it was Alex Savage getting beat the shit out of for 7 straight minutes without getting a single solitary moment of offense in.
Right.
Until he was pinned.
Right.
Which is not really good for Alex Savage or his tag team with Will Stone, SAS, Savage and Stone. And it's not really good even really for the people that are beating us, because if you can beat someone that easily, what is the point?
So really is the issue here just that perhaps the match is not really planned well enough? Maybe somebody should have planned a bit of offense for old Alex Savage as well.
Yes, and maybe taken a different approach to the way the match should be laid out, because these two guys were talking about, hey, we need to establish ourselves as a tag team. One of them is 7 foot, the other one is a 4-time IPW New Zealand heavyweight champion. So they don't really have to establish shit. They're the most established people on the roster, just about. No one would ever go, oh, who are these upstarts in the tag league? They'll be like, who are these favorites for every fucking match they wrestle, because they're both former IPW champions and one of them is 7 foot giant. So no one is going to be questioning that. What they might be questioning is, why does Savage and Stone even wrestle in the tag division when they cannot get one single move of offense on these people.
Tell you what I would really find disgusting about wrestling would be getting all that sweat from other men on me. That's not for me, man. That's not for me. If I get a little bit of someone else's sweat on me, I'm like, yuck. I'm like, gross. That, like, if my sweaty arm touches somebody's fucking sweaty foot at the fucking yoga class, I'm like, bleh. So like the idea of like making a living from like just bathing in the sweat of men all day, just honestly, it's not for me, man.
Well, I'll say a couple things to that.
All right.
Alex Savage is the sweatiest of them all.
So he's got the sweaty offense.
So
he's got the sweatiest offense.
The
most offensive sweat.
So the sweat is going on other people.
Right.
Really more. So that's something they have to
They
deal
hate
with.
wrestling you.
Yeah, it's not really so much something that my close personal friend Alex Savage has to deal with. Also, it's sort of like the other thing is you're not really like, certainly my matches don't involve like lots of wrestling. It's all strikes, punches, moves, reversals. It's not like
but a reversal still involves touching a sweaty man.
Well, not really. A reversal can involve ducking a clothesline. A reversal can involve reversing an Irish whip. A reversal can involve leaping over your opponent. So actually a reversal can be anything. That's not necessarily, so like, to be honest, I don't really come up against that issue that often, if at all. But it was interesting to be, when you go up against someone that is truly a giant, this is the biggest guy in wrestling. Ruben de Jong. He was, in fact, at one stage contracted to the WWE, and is basically just a big bastard that you do not want to ever step in the ring with, or be on the wrong side of, I guess, is more appropriate. But yeah, just being manhandled like a little baby, just being thrown about like you're a little kid, like you're a little toy, because they're so strong, is quite a
homoerotic thing to do.
Well, normally, wrestling involves cooperation. You're working together to make it both look
like the thing's happening.
You're making me look strong. I'm making you look strong.
Yeah.
In this case, he's just so strong, I don't need to do anything. But yes, as I said, a bit disappointing, really, to be sort of jobbing out in that fashion.
Right. Well, I do actually, I've got my phone out and I'm going to attempt to look at the other piece of feedback without throwing up. Okay, guys?
All right,
so
here we go.
So, okay, so I know what this is about. This is Mark Cookson referring to, so Mark Cookson just said that he joins him, he likes following Alex Savage. So he's a fan of yours, and Alex's.
Thank you, Mark.
But he also has something else to say here, which is referring to how you called somebody an entitled little shit that when you had to Uber them and they wanted to go through the drive-thru.
Yes, McDonald's.
Yeah, at McDonald's. Yeah, well, Mark says this. He goes, I'm riled up.
Damn.
I'm riled up about Guy's entitled millennial story. What a cheeky little shit. Probably never had to endure the pain of a taxi meter ticking over in a Macca's drive-through. So actually, maybe he's talking about the millennial there. Sorry,
yes, he
I
is.
thought he was talking about you for a second.
No.
So let me reread that in a ways that make sense. I'm riled up about Guy's entitled millennial story. What a cheeky little shit. Probably never had to endure the pain of a taxi meter ticking over at Macca's drive-through. Yeah, well, you're right. That the entitled little millennial shit probably never has caught a taxi and just sat there and watched the money ticking by.
And that's the thing, like, I think that's the interesting thing is, like, if he did, he wouldn't be going to Macca's. He'd be asking to be dropped off and he'd walk. Yeah. And the fact that he knows that's not happening is the very reason he's asking to do it.
Yeah.
And that is the very problem, because it's like, well, actually, that's what we need. We need the McDonald's meter with Uber.
Yeah.
The McDonald's meter becomes the taxi meter.
Yeah.
And we could sit there, that's fine, but we just need to earn as much money as we would if we were driving, because that's costing us some serious money. And this isn't like a one-off instance, but there have been, like, not hundreds, but there have been many, many times where I've been stuck in a drive-through because I was like, I just don't know if my Uber rating could take this hit if I don't. And I just don't know if I can. Oh, fuck it, okay, I'll take him. And then I just sit there for half an hour, and I can see that, like, there is money to be made. Maybe it's surging in other places, but not me. I'm just stuck there. And then I get back, and it's like, I get back because maybe that McDonald's wasn't even in town. So I was like, I drove somewhere, and then I waited for a long period out of town, and then I drove back into town.
Without a ride.
Without a ride. Oh, definitely not without a ride going back in. And then I get there, and all the rides are done for the evening. You know, because I was at fucking McDonald's. It's such a common occurrence. And so, yeah, I just think to myself, like, man, just get this whole thing. It all came about, probably once upon a time, from someone going, fuck, I feel like, I feel Macca's. Oh, okay, well, I know it's going to cost heaps of money, but let's do it. And then they looked at their statement afterwards, and they go, fuck, it didn't cost anything at all. It's like I didn't even go to Macca's, and I was sitting there for like a good 20 minutes. What the fuck? And then they say to their friends, hey, guess what? You know, you don't really get charged at it. Like, it's hardly anything if you actually do stop at a Macca's.
Yeah. It's like 20 cents a minute or something, right?
Yeah, and then suddenly everyone's like, oh, sweet. Well, let's all do that then, and treat the Uber drivers like shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you, Mark. Appreciate that.
Now, Bevan had some feedback too, but his is too long. I can't read it without throwing up everywhere. He's so dummy.
He's so little dummy.
So sorry about that, Bevan, but we will read yours
Bevan.
next week.
We can't do it.
Yeah. So, what else?
Well, I don't know if we got anything really. I mean, I've obviously probably got some stories, but shit, for the life of me.
For the life of me. All right, cool. Well, on that note, I reckon we'll wrap it up. Unless, I do have a bunch of notes. It's just a shame I can't read them without throwing up everywhere.
Well, maybe we should just take a little pause, and you can stop recording, and you can have a look at these notes at some point when it's safe, and then we can resume this podcast a bit later.
Yeah, or maybe just the Guy and Harley Podcast outro will roll right now. We'll see soon, won't we?
We will.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley Podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.